Welcome to this video course, the Rapid Delivery Workshop for Enterprise Architecture. This video segment provides an overall perspective of the structure of the course and the textbook which is used with the course. My name is Clive Finkelstein. I'm the Chief Scientist of Visible Systems Corporation in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm also the Managing Director of Information Engineering Services Proprietary Limited, a private company in Perth, Western Australia. I want to give you an appreciation of the structure of this Enterprise Architecture Workshop, Rapid Delivery Workshop for Enterprise Architecture. It comprises two main modules. The first module is an introduction to enterprise architecture for managers and IT. Module 1 comprises a number of sections that address major topics. There are 4 sections in Module 1. Section 1, Strategic Modelling for Enterprise Architecture, which provides an introduction to the concepts of enterprise architecture itself and the strategic modelling method. Strategy analysis for input to strategic modelling is Section 2, and this is a rapid delivery method for senior management to assist in strategic planning. Section 3, Developing a Strategic Model, is a facilitated example showing how strategic plans can be used with business experts and managers to develop a strategic model of the enterprise, which is in fact a picture of the business. And Section 4 describes a number of real-world examples of enterprise architecture projects, some 4 projects in government organisations and commercial organisations throughout the world. These 4 sections each take several hours on video. They're made up of a number of segments within a section, where each segment is a subtopic comprising some 15 to 30 minutes of video on that subtopic. And this allows you to go to individual subtopics within a section for doing the course and understanding the concepts that are presented. Typically, Module 1 is covered in an in-house course or a public course in one day. So it'll give you an appreciation of the content in the video. Will typically also take around one day. Module 2 comprises the rapid delivery methods for enterprise architecture, and Module 2 comprises some of the workshop problems. This comprises Section 5, which is a rapid delivery method for business-driven data modelling or data mapping that is used by strategic modelling. Some of you viewing this video who are experienced data modelers will see that in this Section 5 it addresses the development of data maps in data models, documenting a data model as a picture of the business, where instead of data models being developed traditionally by data modelers interviewing users as an IT-driven approach, Section 5 draws on the business knowledge of the business experts themselves together with IT experts who are able to use the business-driven data modelling method in a design partnership, in a cooperative design partnership to develop logical data models. Section 6 covers business normalization to identify future business needs. Normalization comprises a number of rules that have traditionally been applied by IT data modelers to understand the meaning of data and structure that data more efficiently for access by computer databases. But the rules that are used in traditional normalization have been rather difficult for business people who are the experts knowledgeable of the data to understand. Business normalization is a variation on the traditional normalization rules that are easier for business experts to use to apply their business knowledge to identify the data required in the organization for future business needs. Section 7 is a case study to develop the strategic model further that was initially introduced in Section 3 of Module 1. This is actually the first of the major workshop problems in this section. Typically, in an in-house course, this problem is carried out in a facilitated environment with the facilitator working on a whiteboard, guided by the input from the audience, using as a catalyst the strategic planning statements of the enterprise. Based on the various policy statements, goals, objectives, strategies, etc. in a strategic plan, the facilitator asks a series of questions of the audience, which enables the data required by the business experts to be identified and then documented as a picture on the whiteboard. The strategic modelling case study in Problem 2 achieves this with progressive build slides, so it doesn't have the live interaction of an in-house course, but it does give a good understanding of how a picture of the business in terms of data needed by management and business experts in the enterprise can be developed from the strategic planning statements. Section 8, Strategic Alignment, comprises workshop problem 3. This is a case study problem which uses people working together in case study teams to address matrices indicating alignment of particular questions from an enterprise architecture point of view: what in terms of data, how in terms of processes, where in terms of locations, who for people, when for timing, and why for motivation in the plan, and to document these questions in a matrix which is used for governance analysis, typically for Sarbanes-Oxley internal control reporting procedures for governance analysis. Section 9 introduces a rapid delivery method to derive from the strategic model developed in case study problem 2 project plans for rapid delivery of the strategic model as databases in the enterprise. In workshop problem 4, we will cover the method to be used to derive from a data model project plans. Now, this is an approach that may appear to be quite new even to experienced data modelers. The ability to derive project plans from a data model is not generally understood even by experienced data modelers. In problem 4, we will go through workshop exercises that will enable you to understand how to derive project plans to deliver into production from a data model systems representing priority processes that management have determined should be implemented first. This section 9 is a very key section because it is through these project plans derived from the strategic model that priority business processes can be delivered and implemented into production as systems in 3-month increments. Continuing now, section 10 covers the activity modelling and activity-based costing method, which is used to document what has to be done in executing various business activities within an enterprise. Section 11 covers developing processes and workflows in process models and workflow models, and it also addresses interface design in terms of menu design and screen design for the systems to be implemented. Section 12 transforms the strategic model that was developed in section 7 now to a logical data model in greater detail as Workshop Problem 5. Workshop Problem 5 expands the detail of the logical data model further, preparatory to developing physical data models for implementation on computer as databases. Section 13, validating strategic modelling deliverables, it comprises problem 6, which is in fact sample solutions for the previous problems carried out in the workshop. Section 14 is the final section of Module 2, Managing and Sustaining Enterprise Architecture. And in Section 14, as well as reviewing the previous sections in the course, it also covers a number of modelling tools that are used to bridge from the methods addressed in Module 2, Rapid Delivery Methods for Enterprise Architecture, and the technologies that are used for implementing the priority processes into production as systems and databases. It also discusses some of the modelling notation which is used for business processes. In particular, business process modelling notation is used to document as process model diagrams the logic involved in carrying out various business processes within an organization. Business Process Modelling Notation, referred to as BPMN, is covered in Section 14. BPMN is a process modelling notation that is supported by a number of modelling tools and is used to document business process models or workflow models diagrammatically. And the advantage of BPMN is that such process models or workflow models are able then to be automatically generated from BPMN models as executable code. The ability of generating executable code directly from these process models enables enterprises to change their systems rapidly as the business changes. This has been one of the difficult inhibitors in enterprises changing, as in many cases the systems supporting the enterprise have not been able to be changed rapidly using the manual coding methods that have traditionally been used. So this outlines the content of the two modules. Module 1 is Introduction to Enterprise Architecture for Managers and IT, and Module 2, the Rapid Delivery Methods for Enterprise Architecture, comprises the workshop problems. Supporting the video course and these sections is the textbook. The textbook is Enterprise Architecture for Integration, Rapid Delivery Methods and Technologies, which I wrote, published by Archiecture House in Norwood, Massachusetts in 2006. Included with that book is a CD-ROM, and I'll discuss the content of the CD-ROM shortly. The manuscript of the book, when I first wrote it, was 900 pages long. And of course the publisher was rather concerned about the cost of a book. If printed as 900 pages, it would be very expensive and also would be difficult to lift. So I suggested to the publisher that maybe I could take 400 pages from the manuscript, and rather than have those pages printed in the hardcover book, instead include those 400 pages on a CD-ROM provided with the book. And the beauty of this is that it doesn't matter how many pages you store on a CD-ROM, the CD-ROM doesn't get any heavier. The book is the reference for the course, and students who've attended this course that I've run throughout the world have purchased this book to assist them for reference purposes. Let me give you an outline of the book in terms of the parts of the book and the chapter headings. Part 1 is Enterprise Architecture for Managers. Chapter 1 is Enterprise Architecture and Enterprise Engineering. It's an introductory chapter. Chapter 2 covers Balanced Scorecard and Strategy Maps from a senior management point of view, and it's also of interest to IT readers. Chapter 3 is a rapid delivery method used by senior management for strategic planning. The using strategy analysis to define the future is a rapid strategic business planning method. Chapter 4 covers governance analysis using enterprise architecture. So these first 4 chapters essentially provide an introduction to enterprise architecture for managers. And these 4 chapters correspond fairly closely to the first 4 sections that we discussed in Module 1, which is also called Enterprise Architecture for Managers and IT. Part 2 of the book is Enterprise Architecture Methods. Chapter 5 discusses various methods for building or enterprise architecture, and it talks about enterprise architecture methods used in government enterprises, the Federal Enterprise Architecture Framework, FEAF. It talks about the Department of Defense Architecture Framework, DODAF, which is used by defense departments in the US and in many other countries throughout the world. It talks about TOGAF, the Open Group Architecture Framework, and talks about other enterprise architecture methods in Chapter 5. Chapter 6 then describes the business-driven data mapping method for achieving integrated data models and integrated databases. Chapter 7 describes strategic modeling for rapid delivery of enterprise architecture and shows how to derive project plans manually from data models. A number of modeling tools have taken the manual steps documented in Chapter 7 and have automated those steps to automatically derive project plans from data models. Chapter 8 covers strategic alignment, activity and workflow modeling, and business rules. Continuing Part 2, Enterprise Architecture Methods, Chapter 9 covers using business normalization for future business needs, and Chapter 10 documents menu design, screen design, performance analysis, and process modeling. So Part 2, Enterprise Architecture Methods, documents what essentially we covered earlier in Module 2, Rapid Delivery Methods for Enterprise Architecture of the video course. Part 3 of the book now addresses enterprise integration technologies. This focus is on technologies for delivery of the methods covered in the earlier part of the book and the course into production as databases and systems. Chapter 11, Enterprise Integration Concepts, discusses XML, Extensible Markup Language, and XSL, Extensible Style Language, and then describes how these are used together with enterprise application integration to achieve a degree of enterprise integration using technology. Chapter 12 talks about enterprise portal technologies for integration. Chapter 13 addresses web services for real-time integration. Chapter 14 covers service-oriented architecture for integration, while Chapter 15, the final chapter of the book, discusses managing and delivering enterprise architecture. Each chapter of Part 3 covers specific integration technologies completely in each separate chapter. On the CD delivered with the book, there are a number of product descriptions for products utilizing these various technologies. In Part 2 of the book, which covered the methods, each chapter describes a particular rapid delivery method completely. Now, I structured the book in this way so that particularly as technologies change, it would be easier to keep those separate technology chapters up to date. And the most volatile part of those technologies were the product descriptions, which I included on the CD rather than in the book. It makes it easier to keep in later editions of the book to keep material up to date. The CD-ROM included with the book covers additional book material, problem exercises and sample solutions for the chapters in Part 2, Enterprise Architecture Methods. It includes business planning questionnaire and a strategic modeling questionnaire as Microsoft Word templates and describes how these questionnaires can be used for business planning workshops and strategic modeling sessions. And Part 3, Enterprise Integration Technologies, includes descriptions of products from many product vendors using the respective technologies for each of those Part 3 chapters. Considering the CD-ROM included with the book, in addition to the book material that I've described, it includes full-function but limited capacity free modeling tools from Visible Systems Corporation, Visible Analyst, Visible Advantage, and Visible Developer. And with these modeling tools, purchasers of the book can install those modeling tools on their computer and use those modeling tools to implement some of the problems within the book as small, limited capacity projects to gain experience in applying the methods with these modeling tools, which automate many of the methods described in the book. So that's a very quick overview of the book and the CD-ROM supplied with the book and its contents. And as I mentioned, this book has been purchased by many students throughout the world who've done this course, as it provides full documentation as a reference for the methods and technologies covered in the video course. I'd like to finish this overview by sharing with you a number of interesting anecdotes that have been experienced by enterprises throughout the world. Consider this: a major bank rejected a $10 million loan application because there was no record of an applicant's account number, which was hung up elsewhere as the IS department was too busy maintaining the system. And this, in 1990, a major New York securities broker lost more than $200 million when its employees entered incomplete data into a new risk management system the firm was building. As a result, the firm missed a big trading opportunity when the report failed to show that a key transaction had been made. The problem is due to poor quality data residing in corporate databases, which costs US business and the government billions each year, processed by non-integrated legacy systems having an unmanageable amount of data redundancy. More recently, about 38,000 employees and retirees of a major lender found their nest egg balances adjusted downwards by as much as 16% when a $17 million accounting system error was discovered. Also, a large health insurance carrier spent $200 million consolidating its computer systems, which promptly glitched and mailed out more than $60 million in duplicate checks and overpayments. And another, and this one I love, a bank unintentionally created 800 multimillionaires when a minor system bug resulted in more than $763 billion being mistakenly added to those accounts. Now look at these customers of the bank. They're really smiling because this is the definition of customer satisfaction in banking. Nearly $1 billion being mistakenly added to each of these customers' accounts. I wish I knew which bank it was, because I certainly would be happy to bank with that bank. That is customer satisfaction indeed in banking. Or this example, a barcode foul-up on the return address of Cook County tax bills outside Chicago, Illinois, that went out at the end of September 1999 resulted in about 900 bills being sent to Puerto Rico. I doubt if these recipients of those bills would be happy to pay for the tax bills to Cook County. Some of the causes are due to data entry errors, incorrectly entered data because of lack of complete and accurate information, faulty data, mismatched data during merging, and poorly synchronized transaction processing. And the results are banks and brokerage houses violate Security and Exchange Commission reporting rules, utilities, telephone and transportation companies bill incorrectly, hospitals cannot collect receivables because of invalid patient information. Now, in fact, look at the date of this. These results were published in Computer World in the US in October 12, 1992. Some 17 or more years later, and we still have the same problems. Aerospace firms and large government contractors have cost overruns and late deliveries because of unreliable project management data. Manufacturers face product line rework and recalls caused by unreliable design and production management data. Again, these problems are still with us, some 17 or more years after the original publication in Computer World. The good news, with all of this doom and gloom, it's nice to realize that you are not alone. This is a common problem throughout the world. It is a problem which has been brought about by a lack of data integration and, in many cases, a lack of enterprise integration. This video course, Rapid Delivery Workshop for Enterprise Architecture, and the textbook reference, Enterprise Architecture for Integration, Rapid Delivery Methods and Technologies, provide methods and technologies to achieve enterprise integration in organisations to eliminate many of the problems that we have seen.